Okay, thanks.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the next speaker, who is Arnab Saha from HRI, and he'll speak about one-loop amplitude from generalized scattering equations. And please stop within 13 minutes if you want to answer questions.
Yeah, am I audible? Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present our work here. So this talk is based on these two papers written with Abhishek Subramania Hegre and Dilip Jatkar. So let me begin by giving an overview of our work. CHY or Kachazo-Heiwan formalism is a remarkable development in S-matrix program. And using this formalism, several quantum field theory amplitudes can be computed using integral representations over moduli space of punctured Riemann spheres or CP1. And there are various aspects why CHY is important. One of them being it replaces the conventional technique of finding scattering amplitudes using Feynman diagrammatics, and several important properties of S-matrix such as color kinematic duality, double copy relations, and factorization properties under soft limits and collision limits can be studied very efficiently using the CHY formalism. And scattering equations play a very important role in this formalism. Scattering equations basically map the singularities of the kinematic space to the singularities of the moduli space of punctured Riemann spheres or CP1. And recently, CHY, Kachazo, Early, Guibert, and Misera, they introduced generalizations of the scattering equations, which are now defined on higher dimensional projective spaces CPK-1. An important motivation behind such generalization comes from the fact that standard scattering equations defined on the space of n points on CP1 can also be thought of as scattering equations for n points on CPn-3. A well-studied example with this generalization is the bi-adjoint scalar amplitudes, and in this work we'll focus on these amplitudes. These amplitudes have realizations in terms of what is called Grassmannian cluster algebras. And in this work, we use GR36 cluster algebra. We relate the singularities of k equal to 3, n equal to 6 amplitude to 4.1 loop integrand in the bi-adjoint cubic scalar theory through the D4 cluster polynomial. And we also study various factorization properties and soft limits of these amplitudes. So this is the outline of my talk. First, I'll introduce CEGM formalism, then briefly mention about cluster algebra, and then I'll talk about our work, one loop amplitude, and finally end with some conclusion. So these are the scattering equations, so which play important role in CHY. There are n such scattering equations corresponding to the total number of external states in the scattering process. And SAB, these are the Mandelstam variables, and here we are dealing with massless particles. So these are just dot products of two null momenta, Ka and Kb, the external states. And sigmas are the punctures on the Riemann spheres. And one can check that these scattering equations are invariant under SL2C transformations. Therefore, one can actually fix the positions of three punctures. And therefore, not all of the scattering equations are important. We get a set of n-3 independent scattering equations out of n such equations. And using these scattering equations, one can write scattering amplitude by this integral representation, where the scattering equations come in the arguments of the delta function. And because of the presence of these delta functions, this integration is actually localized on the solutions of the scattering equation. And In, this is the integrand which contains information about the specific theory for which we want to find scattering amplitude. And in general, In depends on external data like momenta, polarizations, and also the punctures. An example of CHY amplitude is here we take bi-adjoint cubic interacting scalars, where the scalars live in the adjoint representations of two unitary groups. And the integrand for this amplitude is given by these two copies of particular factors, where the particular factor with a particular color ordering is given by this expression, where in the denominator we have the products of differences of the punctures. And so this In, it stands for the color stripped part of the amplitude. We also have the trace factor which is taken out. Now, this scattering equations can be obtained from this quantity, which is called generalized potential function, which is defined in this way, where this AB round bracket stands for the determinant of 2/2 minors, where the sigmas are the homogeneous coordinates on CP1. And then we can go to the inhomogeneous coordinates by this expression by dividing one coordinate by the other. and we get this quantity. And so this will serve as the determinant here. And when we extremize this generalized potential function with respect to these inhomogeneous coordinates, we obtain the scattering equations. Now, this can be generalized to higher dimensional projective spaces from CP1 to CPK minus 1. And here we take the determinant of K cross K minus, and x1 to xk minus 1. These are the inhomogeneous coordinates on CPK minus 1. And using this, we can generalize the potential function in this way, where SA1, A2 to AK. So these are now called generalized Mandelstam variables. And we can impose conditions like momentum conservation and massless conditions in this way. So when we, for every A1, when we sum over the other indices, we get the momentum conservation. And by demanding that whenever two indices repeat, those quantities are set to 0, we get the massless conditions. Now, a priori, these generalized Mandelstam variables do not have much physical interpretations, although in our work, we have given a physical interpretation for the particular case of k equal to 3 and n equal to 6. And like before, the case of k equal to 2, we obtain the generalized scattering equations by extremizing this generalized potential function with respect to the inhomogeneous coordinates. So all total, there will be k minus 1 times n number of equations. But again, these scattering equations are invariant under SL-KC transformations. Therefore, one can actually fix the positions of k plus 1 of the punctures. Therefore, to obtain the set of independent scattering equations, we have to remove those many number of equations. So as an example, for k equal to 3, we have these two sets of scattering equations. And now we denote the moduli space on which the scattering equations are defined as xkn. And this is actually given by Grassmannian k comma n modulo c star raised to the power n minus 1. Grassmannian GRKN is the space of all k planes in n dimensions. So therefore, to begin with, we have k into n number of coordinates. And because of the GLK symmetry for the k planes, we can take out k square degrees of freedom. And on the top of that, we have scaling degrees of freedom available, which is given by this torus action. So we remove further n minus 1 degrees of freedom. And therefore, the dimension of this moduli space reduces to this quantity, k minus 1 times n minus k minus 1. And we can analogously define the particular factor, generalization of the particular factors in this way, where in the denominator, we have the product of the determinants of k by k minus. And by taking two copies of the particular factors with particular color orderings alpha and beta and integrating over the moduli space of punctured CPK minus 1, we can then define what is called bi-adjoint amplitudes or generalized bi-adjoint amplitudes. And it is these amplitudes that we'll be interested in this work. So I'll mention briefly about cluster algebra here because this will be important for our study. Clusters can be defined as quiver diagrams, which are oriented graphs equipped with arrows connecting different nodes, and each node is assigned a cluster coordinate. GR2N cluster algebra can be represented by triangulation of an n-gon, and in this picture we have GR25. So we have triangulated a pentagon, and corresponding to this triangulation, we can find this cluster quiver. And here, there are like 2 unfrozen nodes and rest other 5 frozen nodes. So these nodes are Fluker coordinates. Fluker coordinates are the same as the determinants that we saw earlier, and these are also known as A coordinates. And I should mention here that GR2N cluster algebra is related to n.3 level phi cube amplitude. And in our study, we will go beyond GR2N and study GRKN in general because they are related to the CEGM amplitudes. So in GRKN algebra, every cluster has k minus 1 times n minus k minus 1 number of mutable nodes. And we can have some geometric objects corresponding to these cluster algebras, which are called cluster polytopes. And the dimension of this cluster polytope is the same as this k minus 1 times n minus k minus 1. These cluster polytopes have the property that they have boundaries of codimension 1, which are called facets. And we have ray vectors which are normal to these facets. And every vertex of the cluster polytope can be mapped one-to-one with Feynman diagram. So here, for example, we have the GR25 cluster algebra, which is also known as A2 cluster algebra. And correspondingly, we have associahedron drawn here, and every vertex of the associahedron corresponds to the tree level Feynman diagrams, which come in the planar order 5.5 cube amplitude. So we have to find the corresponding, the compatible set of ray vectors to find these Feynman diagrams. Okay, so now I'll come to our one loop amplitude. So we are interested in GR36 because we study k equal to 3 and n equal to 6 amplitudes here. So for GR36, there are total 6 frozen and 14 unfrozen coordinates. And sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to wrap up soon. So in GR36, there are total 6 frozen and 14 unfrozen coordinates. However, GR36 tropical fan has 16 ray vectors, and the mismatch can be remedied by introducing two quadratic coordinates q1 and q2 like this, and using these two quadratic coordinates we can modify our generalized potential function in this way, where we introduce SQ1 and SQ2 to be two new Mandelstam variables, and using this potential function we can find we can find our amplitudes by the usual way, the scattering equations. And yeah, so what we have done here is that this GR36 Spire-Williams fan that we saw earlier is related to D4 cluster algebra. And in this paper, Artani, Hammett, Hayes, Salvatore, and Thomas, they have shown that Dn cluster polytope is an n-dimensional polytope with n-square facets, and it is related to n.5 cube amplitude at 1 loop. So we use D4 cluster polytope to relate to 4.1 loop integrand in 5 cube theory. And the cluster string integrals provide stringy canonical forms for the generalized associahedra of a finite type cluster algebra. And taking the quantum field theory limit, that is alpha prime going to 0 limit of D4 cluster polytope, we obtain 4.5 cube integrand at 1 loop. And in this work, we have mapped the singularities of D4 polytope to the generalized Mandelstam variables of the modified 3/6 CEGM amplitude and interpret the latter as 1 loop integrand of 5 cube theory. I'll just shortly mention the construction that so D4 polytope with 16 facets, they can be labeled by these variables. And in this paper, these authors, Artani, Hammett, Hayes, Salvatore, and Thomas, they have used these labels to draw Feynman diagrams. So there will be total 50 such Feynman diagrams corresponding to the all possible 4.1 loop integrand. So we have the Feynman diagrams, and in our work, what we have done, we have used the worldsheet coordinates that we obtained from the cluster string integrals and find a map between the cluster variables and these generalized Mandelstam variables that we had earlier. So in a way, we have now given a physical interpretation of these generalized Mandelstam variables. And so what finally we can do is use these generalized Mandelstam variables to draw Feynman diagrams. So now we have the interpretation of these generalized Mandelstam variables as singularities of 4.1 loop integrand of 5 cube theory. So we have also studied some factorization properties like taking the forward limit when you restrict to some boundaries of the polytope, we get the forward limits, and similarly one can also study soft factorizations. And in our work, we have specifically studied a double soft limit. So in our earlier work, we had the double soft factor for general k amplitude, which is given as product of two soft factors sk minus 1 and sk, and the scaling goes as 1 by tau to the power 3 k minus 1 for this double soft factor, where tau is the scaling parameter by which the external states are taken soft. And here specifically we have taken n minus 1 and nth legs to be soft. And in this particular work, what we have seen is that this double soft factor actually corresponds to one particular facet of the D4 polytope. And this particular facet.
So I'm going to have to stop for questions because it's 15 minutes, or you can finish and no questions.
Yeah, I can finish. I mean, I can finish in 1 minute. If you give me
and no questions.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. So I can just stop at this. Like I'll just say one word. So this double soft factor, when restricted to this particular facet, that actually corresponds to A3 sub algebra, A3 cluster algebra. So yeah, okay, I'll stop with this.
So Kaushik had a question.
I have a very quick question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Going back to your diagram that you drew, the pentagon associating the vertices to the Feynman diagrams,
Yes.
is that the associahedron or not? Because in the associahedron, it's not the vertices, but the sides which will be associated to this Feynman diagram.
So, I mean, yeah, what we are talking about, it is a dual of that picture.
The points where some of them come together, some of the points. So these are the singular situations.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, this is also what is called associahedron, but what the picture that you are saying, that is a dual of this. So here the ray vectors are actually normal to these facets.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Even in the dual, I think that statement is correct. I mean, the vertices are actually they correspond to particles coming together.
I mean, so the okay, so the
Edges that will correspond to the Feynman diagrams.
No. So in this picture, the edges correspond to these Mandelstam variables. So when and at the vertices, we have like two corresponding Mandelstam variables coming together, and they form the two propagators of the Feynman diagram.
Yeah, they will come together. That's the point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the vertices will actually represent the Feynman diagram.
Another quick comment is, do you know how? So in this connection to the DM quivers, doesn't work beyond the cubic theory. It only works for 5-cube theory. That I think one can. I mean, it's easy to see. So do you have any idea how to generalize it to any other polynomial?
Meaning how to obtain for 5p kind of theory.
Yeah, I mean beyond 5-3, this connection to the DM quivers will not work.
I see. Yeah, that okay. I mean, I don't have much to say about that. Yeah, I think there are both polytopes and those constructions.
Okay.
In the discussion. So next speaker is Ranjan John.